Benvenuti and ciao ragazzi to the 26th episode to fuck.
Wow, okay, gone.
Addio, mia bella Napoli, addio, addio, la tua...
Benvenuti and ciao ragazzi to the 26th episode of In the Shadow of Vesuvio. My name is Henry Bell, and I'm recording this in centre of European football culture, Paisley, in the west coast of Scotland. That is not in the shadow of Vesuvio. But Michele Borelli is here at Napoli Tickets on Twitter. You are in the shadows of Vesuvio. Ciao, amico. Come stai?
Ciao, amico mio. Everything fine, all good. I'm actually even more in the shadow of the Vesuvio now because I had 4 trees between me and the Vesuvius. I had 4 trees right in front of my window, and they just cut them down, actually. So now I have a clear view of the Vesuvius from my window.
Perfect.
And yeah, it's kind of sad, to be honest. I like those 4 trees, but yeah, well, goodbye trees. And yeah, the Vesuvius is right in front of me. It's evening actually right now, but still, like metaphorically speaking, let's say figuratively speaking, I'm in the shadows of Vesuvius. And
Did you
yeah,
chop them
sadly,
down?
sadly not in past. What?
Yeah, as commitment to this podcast, did you chop those trees down?
Not officially, but yes, yes, I did.
I'm a fan. I'm a tree fan. In fact, interestingly, this isn't interesting, everybody. We will talk about football soon. There's a park around the corner from me in Paisley, which has every single tree that's indigenous to Scotland, and they've planted them all in a row. Brodie Park. Sometimes I just look at them and think, isn't that interesting?
It
I didn't
is.
take you there, Michele. I'm sorry. I should have done.
Yeah, well, I have an excuse to come back now.
We could have eaten our fish and chips in Brodie Park in Paisley, and nobody could ever accuse me of not showing you a good time. Um, so, so here we are, right? It's been a couple of weeks. Listeners, dearest listeners, we will do this every 2 weeks, minimum, maybe a bit more, but expect a show every 2 weeks. No more. We're both a bit busy, but that's our new policy, right, Michele?
Yes, please. Yes, let's try. Let's try.
Quite a lot's happened. So what we're going to do today is all the usual stuff. Talk briefly about Spezia. I want to know all about where you watched that, Michele, because I always find the away games interesting because you watch them somewhere in the Naples area. We're going to talk quite a lot, I think, about Napoli. Sorry, Napoli Roma, sorry. And I'm going to give a big plug to my amici at Glasgow Napoli, or perhaps Curva G, which is someone's idea for the name of that group, which I think is a wonderful name.
Nice.
And then we're going to talk, let's see what happens, but a little bit about the end of the season, about people starting to think, oh God, do I actually have to get over there? Ticket availability for some of the European ties and stuff. So you might be listening to this actually away from Naples thinking, how's it all going to work? So we're going to just think out loud. Obviously, Michele, your expertise about Naples is huge. I have also made some plans to get over there as well, so we can share. That's the plan. You can tell I'm in work mode, Michele. That was like the beginning of a meeting, wasn't it? I just read out the agenda.
You're so professional. You are so professional. You're what this podcast needs. We just need to do this more often. But you're so professional.
Thanks, Michele. Well, so are you. You're wearing a suit. A lot of people can't realize this. You're wearing a Jim Carrey suit in Dumb and Dumber, but just like in the colors of Napoli. This is show 26. Come on, what's number 26 in the Napoli Tombola, as is tradition?
Napoli Tombola 26 is Nanninella, which would be like, well, it comes from the name Anna, Italian name Anna. And it's it would mean small Anna, piccola Anna. I read right now actually because I had no idea. This is one of those numbers that I didn't remember at all. And apparently it was the Virgin Mary's mother, Anna.
There we go.
So yeah,
it took you about 40 minutes to look this up, listeners. So
because I didn't believe it. Sometimes Like I didn't trust it. I was like, Ninella, what? That's because I only remember the dirty numbers. That's all I care about. But yeah, well, this
You're
is the
very
exact
excited
opposite.
about number 28, aren't you,
Yes.
Michele? We don't want to give things away, but like,
Yes.
you know, it's going to be a big moment for you, I believe.
Yeah, we don't care about Napoli. We don't care about the games. We only care about the dirty numbers. That's my excuse.
Yeah, it's true. So big thing going on in Italy, presumably, I mean, for me, is the San Remo festival, which is going to begin quite soon. Did you watch it, Michele?
I do. You know, it's changed a little bit. I don't know if everyone knows about what we're talking about. San Remo is basically the biggest, I would say the biggest event in Italy every year. It's the most watched show in Italy for sure. And it always happens in February every year. It's basically just like a song competition. Um, New singers, old singers, they come up with new material, new unheard of song, and they compete with each other for the best song, basically. You know, but it's never about the actual song. It's always about the drama behind the song. It's always about the guests. You know, it lasts 1 week.
I
And,
love it so much, Michele. It's
yeah.
full of stories and drama, and like there's an orchestra plays with the singers. So it's this weird mixture of like really old classic Italy from like 50s and 60s sort of thing, in terms of like there's an orchestra and there's a conductor with some of the things, but also like super up to date, quite kitsch Italian pop. And so in my watching it like from a distance is like this is really fun mix of like ridiculous, insane levels of like kitsch, genuinely good stuff, and general pop hilarity. Do you think that's a fair description of it, Michele?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all everyone talks about for the whole week. So in Italy will stop for this week and they will all talk about just San Remo, all the drama, everything. Like at least one big scandal every year takes place. And I'm looking forward to the next one. I didn't know San Remo started today, but yeah, well, I mean,
it's tonight. I told you. Okay,
I had no idea. I had no idea. I've been reading like press conferences because leading up to it there is a lot of drama. So yeah, I've been reading about it a little bit, but it's becoming, I think it's becoming much bigger among young people, because San Remo used to be this TV show for old people mostly, like grandmas, grandpas, uncles. But now they made a very good job making it more appealing to the young audiences. So yeah, there is a lot of basically I know a lot of friends who actually meet just for San Remo viewings basically, and that's
having a San Remo party, a bit like we do that in UK with Eurovision. Everybody, you have Eurovision parties and stuff.
Yeah, I did it last year actually, but just for the final day. We went to friend's place and we watched the final, and yeah, that's quite fun, to be honest. It's just like but again, it's a song competition, but we don't care about the music at all. It's just about the drama, basically. The dresses, the wardrobe malfunctions. Yeah,
and the fact you had a band like Maneskin win a couple of years ago, which is very sort of like, I mean, with my over analytical hat on, it's been interesting to see the recent winners. If you think what Mahmoud and Blanco did last year, which is quite a sort of ambiguous love song between two young men, and then you got Maneskin, who are very much like part of this like new generation, this kind of conversation between this kind of classic feel of the sort of classic Italian festival, and then this kind of new generation bursting through. I mean, there's some of those clashes exist, don't they, in Italian culture at the moment? Or am I over analyzing this, Michele?
No, you're not over. It's quite interesting to see that, because you have the young audiences involved and participating and voting for the young singers and the new ones, and then you have a lot of old viewers who don't get it. Obviously, they don't get the Maneskin, they don't get the Blanco and whatever the other guy. So so it's quite interesting. It's quite nice. It lasts a long time.
I mean,
because I think
everything in Italy lasts for a long time. Like the Italian version of Dancing with the Stars lasts about 7 hours.
Yeah, this one, I think this one begins at 9 p.m. and finishes like every day, ends about like 2 a.m., something like that. It's quite long. Yeah.
I wouldn't do it any other way. So, dear listeners, if you're on Twitter and the Italian accounts that you follow doing lots of hashtags about San Remo, that's what's going on. I think you can watch it on the Rai app. Honestly, if you're interested in Italian culture, it's a really good window, in my opinion, into like the kind of feel of modern Italy. And I think you can watch it for free, or you can watch like the highlights on the Rai app.
For free, for sure. Yeah.
Anyway, that's probably enough San Remo chat. So the most recent game, which we probably won't spend a huge amount of time talking about, was Spezia Napoli. As with all away games, I am very interested in where and how you watched it, what you ate, where you were, who was with you. Now, you don't have to give away all this personal information, but Michele, you need...
But do it, please.
You just have to realize, Michele, that a lot of people listening to this show are not in Naples, and you are we want to live the Neapolitan lifestyle vicariously through you. So paint us a bit of a picture. Where were you? What were you doing ish?
All right. So I actually spent a very nice weekend in Bacoli, which is not Bagnoli. So Bagnoli is a Napoli area, is part of Napoli, and it's quite close to Fuorigrotta. It's quite close to where the stadium is.
See.
But Bacoli is an entirely different town. It's basically north of Napoli. There is Pozzuoli, and then you have Bacoli, kind of, more or less. But it's a quite nice area. It's quite a big town, actually. Not super crowded like Napoli is. And it has a couple of lakes as well. It has very nice beaches. It's quite nice, actually. And we went there. We spent a weekend there. Was beautiful day. Very sunny, a little bit cold, extremely windy. But for some reason, not in Napoli. Well, not in Bacoli. In Napoli was extremely windy, but in Bacoli wasn't, which basically helped us enjoy this weekend even more, because I expected a lot of people, because Bacoli is quite a popular destination, especially in the weekend, because they have a very nice park, very nice lakes, as I said.
It's beautiful. I was there when I was there last year, because we went to Procida. You can get the boat, I think, can't you, from Bacoli, if I made that up.
Yeah, that's right. It's quite close to Procida. And so for some reason, I think because the weather was nice, but it was extremely windy and quite cold. So I think a lot of Neapolitans decided to stay at home this weekend. So Saturday and Sunday, we were basically alone. There was no one in Bacoli. We enjoyed a nice walk around the lake. It was super sunny, not even a cloud in the sky. I enjoyed a nice sfogliatella riccia in a bar on the lake.
Which is the only choice that you should make.
Yeah, that was excellent. Actually, that was excellent, because I wanted to go to a bar which is basically a boat in the lake, like floating on the lake, made bar. So I wanted to go there, and it was closed.
So you wanted to watch the match on that boat, or this is
no. This is in the morning. So this is Sunday morning. Saturday evening, I actually had we had extremely good dinner on Saturday and extremely good lunch. We were very lucky. We chose very well. So we went.
Tell me what this is. Come on, gimme.
I think I'm gonna give you pictures as well, because I think I had the nicest, I think the most beautiful spaghetti all'astice I've ever had in my entire life. It was so good. So good. I had to take pictures. I ate it so slowly because I really enjoyed it. It was a very small restaurant, kind of hidden somewhere in Bacoli, and we found it on Google, actually. And it was beautiful. Great. It was, again, empty. Basically, it was like 3 tables, including us, at peak time on Saturday evening. And that was surprising. You
had the place to yourself. Beautiful.
Basically, yeah. Very old style, family business. Amazing experience.
Can you just tell listeners who perhaps don't know what is inside that dish? Do you want to just paint a bit of a picture?
Yes, I'm going to send you a picture as well. Maybe we can share the picture. But
If you follow us at Shadow of Vesuvio on Twitter, you can see this interactive content.
Yes. So astice is basically I don't know how to translate it in English, but astice is some kind of seafood. I think it's close to a lobster, but not quite. I don't know what's the difference though between a lobster, which would be aragosta, and astice. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a secret now.
Okay.
I don't know a lot about Napolitan food. Okay, I know that it exists. I know more or less what it is, but yeah. I just eat it. So especially when it comes to seafood, like I don't know all the different fishes. I don't know all the different seafood and stuff. But I know what I like and I know what I don't like. So sure. I just stick that. And my girlfriend's father is actually a fisher. He's an expert in this kind of stuff, and my girlfriend, as a result, is also quite an expert. So I trust her when we go to these kind of restaurants to choose what's best for me. But I already knew that
you've chosen excellently, because I've met your girlfriend and she's a wonderful person. But now even more that you've definitely made some good decisions here, Michele. So you've
astice is, spaghetti with astice is absolutely beautiful. It was great. It was amazing. It was very fresh. We just see the picture. You know what I'm talking about. It was honestly amazing, and we didn't spend a lot. We spent 18 euros for it. Again,
nice,
very fresh. Yeah, excellent. And we then went to a steakhouse for lunch. So basically, here's what happened. Okay, so the deal was we're gonna enjoy this Saturday evening. We're gonna go enjoy this Saturday evening and Sunday morning, and then we're gonna go back home because I need to watch Spezia Napoli. So that was the deal.
Of course.
But no, honestly, that was the deal. But when I woke up on Sunday morning, the weather was so nice and was so beautiful there in Bacoli that I decided, you know what, I'm not gonna go back home to watch the game. But I do want to watch the game. So let's compromise here. And I
think everyone listening can relate to this, okay? And I think, there's always a negotiation between people in our lives that would like to watch the match and people who are like not that bothered by it, and so this is good. This is good content that we can relate to, okay?
No, but that's even worse actually, because my girlfriend was extremely, bless her, she was extremely understanding. She was the one saying, "Oh, but we can't stay because you have to watch the game." But she didn't say it in a snarky way. She said it in a understanding, loving way. Like, what are we gonna do? What are you gonna do? Not watch the game? Of course you have to watch the game. So I wanted to. No, she was actually like that. It was like this compromise was with myself actually, because I wanted to watch the game, but I also wanted to stay in Bacoli and enjoy the weather, enjoy the the beautiful atmosphere there, and the just the sunny day. So I decided, okay, you know what? I'm gonna watch the game. I'm gonna watch it on my phone, and I'm gonna enjoy it. So after the game ends, we're gonna go have lunch. I was
because it was an early kickoff as well, so it's perfect.
Yeah, it was. Very bad kickoff time. But yeah, so I watched the whole first half on my phone. Well, I mean, it was okay. It was boring though.
It was so boring. Jesus, that was like, oh my God. Like, I think everyone was a bit tired. It was a bit early for everyone. It was Spezia, Napoli, and us.
Yeah, exactly. And then we decided to go to this restaurant after the first half. I decided, okay, you know what? I mean, I'm not gonna watch the whole game on my phone, or maybe if I want to watch it, but let's go eat. I don't want to wait until 3 to go have lunch. So we went into this restaurant. I had my phone with streaming on, and then I entered into this fabulous steakhouse, and they had the game on. They had a big, beautiful television mounted on the wall with an extremely nice Napoli scarf hanging underneath. Brilliant. And it was. I watched the second half in the restaurant, and obviously I had fun. I ate a very nice steak, extremely good lunch, and extremely good result. My girlfriend was a little bit embarrassed because she was like, okay, but don't. If Napoli scores, don't celebrate too much. Like be quiet. And well, I didn't obviously. I mean, I celebrated hard but yeah, everyone was a Napoli fan in that restaurant anyway. I told her, look, if they don't want to be bothered by my screams, they wouldn't hang a Napoli scarf underneath the television. They're obviously Napoli
and have
Napoli
a TV
fans,
with a
you know.
game on. Like, just don't put the
Exactly.
game.
Yes.
I think
exactly.
you're well within your rights. So it's like it was such a weird game, though, wasn't it? Like, I was thinking, I was just going to be one of these like, here we go games, and then Spezia just basically handed us a gift of the handball was weirdly straightforward. Osimhen's goal, obviously, like that leap is incredibly impressive, but also weird defending. And then the third was even worse. It's quite rare in my experience, for Napoli to be given such gifts, which I'm very happy for us to take. But yeah, some nasty territorial chanting again. I suppose the other thing is that did you see the footage of Osimhen going into the crowd before the game?
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, like I like how he doesn't even think about it. You know, like that's clearly a hostile fan base, but he really didn't care. He was like, okay, I hate someone, I'm gonna go apologize. And it's also funny to me how loving they were towards Osimhen. Obviously, it was a nice gesture. So the Spezia fans, the Spezia ultras, actually, not just the fans, you know, they clapped and they cheered Osimhen and they hugged him. They, you know, that's kind of funny though, because then obviously after that, they showed him a lot of respect and a lot of love. And then after that, obviously, was enemy number one.
Horrendous.
So,
yeah, there we go. Anything stand out to you? But were you from that game? Anything you want to say about that in terms of your experience of it? Or
I just love the confidence. You know, this is something we've been saying since the beginning. I remember since August. You know, when we tied. I don't know if you remember that, but after we tied against Lecce in August, it was probably our worst. And that's funny to say that now, but it was our worst period because we had 2 ties in a row. that's what our crisis looks like, and this season. But yeah, no, we tied against Lecce. Everyone was a little bit sad, obviously, because we won against Monza, but then we tied 2 games in a row. So everyone was like, "Oh, okay, here we go again." That kind of season. But I was very optimistic after that game, if you remember, because I said, you know, yes, we tied, but we draw. But I love the attitude because we started the game a little bit weird because we had a lot of turnover, a lot of people from the bench starting the game. But the attitude was excellent. The attitude was nice. And we kept that attitude for the whole season now. So that's what I like. You know, Napoli goes down 1 goal and then they immediately react and they score. Napoli gets frustrated by Spezia parking the bus and defending the whole game, the whole first half at least. They don't care, you know, like even obviously with Spalletti's help because his changes are always on point. But we don't get stressed. We stay focused, and eventually, at least so far this season, we get the results, and that's amazing. Because do you remember but that's kind of normal with every team. But do you remember even for us, like in the last few seasons, if the game wasn't going your way and you were kind of expected to win, you were the favorite one. You like the last 10 minutes was an assault, you know, but it was a nervous, like rushed assault towards the rival's goal. It was kind of like, okay, let's just throw balls in the
there was something so, I suppose the word I would use to describe it is neurotic. Yes. There was something quite neurotic. And I think that goes, I mean, I know some people get irritated with me saying this, but I think it does go back to Insigne and his slightly toxic personality. And I think that did come across on the pitch a bit. And it's interesting how that is nowhere in this team. I mean, sorry, I know some people love Insigne and fair enough, you know, but there's other reasons for it as well. I think there's a lot of players that had experienced a lot of near misses and those nerves kind of came into the team. We do have to give Spalletti a lot of credit here, don't we? Because obviously you're saying that I agree that he's been smart with how he's rotated the team. But I think he's also been really smart in terms of like handling the città in terms of, because isn't he starting to sprinkle in like Neapolitan expressions and stuff into his press conferences and stuff? What was it he said a couple of weeks ahead of the Roma game? He said something that was like classic Neapolitan. I can't remember what it is now. But he seems to have really connected himself to the city, which I think is something that you've talked about a lot in terms of some of the less great things about ADL, but also just the mentality and the psychology of helping their team keep going. So we have to give him some love, don't we, Michele?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's if the team has such a positive attitude, it's definitely because of him. Because as I was saying, this team is very patient. This team is very, they know when to wait and they know when to attack. They never get neurotic. They never get anxious. I mean, look what happened with Roma, right? So, and again, the Roma game is a game which Spalletti won, basically, right? Because El Shaarawy scores the 1-1 at 15 minutes to go. And that's kind of a must-win game for us because, I mean, it's Roma and, you know, it's a must-win game because we lost against Inter and we really needed to win, even though the table says otherwise. But we really needed to win, I feel. And yeah, he substitutes Osimhen for Simeone, and then, you know, we never rushed the play, we never rushed the build-up. We waited for our moment, we stayed calm, and we scored. And that's, again, for me, I think that's unprecedented, you know, and it's
the story of the season. I mean, it's not the only time that's happened, is it? It's there've been so many times where even in the away clash against Roma, Osimhen scored in like the 85th minute. It was a wonder goal, but it was.
No, my point is like even as a fan, especially in the stadium, like you are 1-1 after you know, having been up for, you know, basically the whole game. You as a fan, you want the team to push hard. You know, you want the team to throw a lot of balls into the box. You want the team to fight, and, you know, even in a confusing way, but you want the team to basically try and kind of keep Roma in their half and in the box. And that's not the way to go. That's not what the team does. You know, they stay calm and they actually wait for it. And I think it's a learning moment even for us fans, because
I was about to ask that. Do you think that this is beginning to? I mean, obviously, the Tifosi are always going to be very superstitious, very nervous. There's been no Scudetto since 1990. But do you think that some of this is having an impact on the way that the club is supported in the stadium?
I think so. Because it's, you know, it's paying off, and obviously this season started not too well, not in terms of results, but in terms of expectations. Obviously, no one expected anything close to what we are achieving right now, and, you know, the season ticket numbers prove that, because we only have about 12,000, 13,000 season tickets, and which obviously proves the fact that no one actually believed in this club. You know, after selling so many big players and buying unknowns, no one expected this to happen. And yeah, the season started a little bit, disillusion, I would say. You know, we really weren't into it.
Yeah,
I wasn't into it. I was like, okay, this is gonna be, you know, kind of, it's gonna be a season. That's what I thought. It's just gonna happen. This season is just gonna happen.
I thought you were very good. You were non-committal either way. You were just basically suggesting that the players are unproven, which could go one of two ways. And I thought you did very well on that. So, okay, let's formally start to talk about the Roma game. So obviously, we haven't done a podcast since then. Don't worry, listeners, we're not going to go into match analysis here. So before we talk about this, I have to talk about Glasgow Napoli. I have to talk about Corvaggi. It was the first meet. We met in a pub in the west end of Glasgow, and we persuaded them to put it on the screen. I have to give everybody a shout out because these are the OGs. There was me, there was David, there was Liam. Now I have to remind me, I've got a question from Liam about the Scottish beer. Who else to read? So me, David, Liam, Kia, James, Jamie, Kevin. Oh, I'm going to miss someone out. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. Somebody else is there.
Wow, you didn't write them down. Wow.
No, I can remember it.
Yeah, sure. I can see, yeah.
I can remember. Anyway, we had an amazing time. I'm going to remember the other person in a second. I don't know quite why I've forgotten. Kevin, James, Jamie. No, that is everyone. So nobody there had any connection to Naples, like in terms of their DNA. There was one person there that's half Italian. It's a hilarious mix of people. There's someone who makes electronic bagpipes. There's someone who works on remote fish farms in the west coast of Scotland. Teachers, a lot of people have spent time in Naples working for an NGO and these things. But everybody had this passion, including someone that lived in Cagliari for a while and chose Napoli to piss off his mates in Cagliari, which I thought was such a good reason to support a football club. And we watched the game together and we had an absolutely fantastic time. It was really interesting just to share everyone's stories about what brought us to Napoli. Everyone with a slightly different version. So that was great. We're going to meet about every month. If you're in Scotland and you want to watch a game, let me know. Just drop me a DM. So that was a great feeling. And then over in the States, there was this huge gathering. Michele, did you see the footage of this?
Yeah.
In New York. So you had Raffa and the tri-state Napoli and all these different, and the Philadelphia Napoli and all these different, and the Toronto club all came together, and it was huge. They shut the block down. It was incredible. And then Napoli won, and it's interesting over here. Okay, so out of Naples, I think this was the moment that everyone was like, okay, I need to get to Naples at some point this season. Now we're not going to talk about the S word, and I myself have done it. Was there a similar sort of feeling in the città itself after the game? Do you think that was some kind of psychological turning point, perhaps?
I think so. I couldn't say why. I honestly have no idea why, but I felt it myself. I'm not going to mention seeing people cry after the Simeone goal, which happened.
Yeah. Well, you have.
Yeah. And no, I didn't cry. This time I didn't cry.
Okay.
But but it was an extremely emotional game. Again, I don't know why. I mean, I couldn't say why is it more. It's not about Roma because we have a big rivalry with Roma, but I don't get the pleasure. It's not like Juventus, we beat Roma, but I don't get, sexual pleasure from beating Roma like I do from getting Juventus. I'm happy about it. But I don't get aroused by it. So that's the difference. And no, it was extremely big. And I think, obviously every
You can't say that you got aroused and then it was extremely big. So close.
Well, I just did. And you will interpret it any way you want. Because I'm not going to say I meant it any way or the other. But yes, it was huge. It was extremely big. Also the results. And we really enjoyed the game. And obviously every win we get now, it's one win closer to the objective, but it's also one fewer game. So
Champions League qualification.
Exactly right. Yeah. Even Europa League, I'm not going to throw it away, but it's, we're getting closer to it. I think it was a big game also because it was quite difficult. I think Roma played such a good game, in my opinion.
It was a very high quality game of football, I thought.
Yeah. And it's proved by the fact that Mourinho was so happy about the performance that they took a selfie, they took a photo in the dressing room. I think it's one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen in my life. I watched that picture and I laughed so hard. My girlfriend thought I was crazy. I had to describe it. I looked, no, but you don't understand. They actually took a picture to commemorate losing against Napoli. That's so funny. That's such a funny picture to me. And, if we got to the point where we beat our rivals and they're still happy enough to take a picture to commemorate the event because they didn't concede 5 goals like Juve did, then I think, this
going well.
Yeah, that's a good season. But it was a difficult game, obviously, extremely tough. Roma played very well, in my opinion. And we won it at the last minute. It's such a good goal, right? Such an emotional goal.
But the noise, Michele, on TV, it seemed like the loudest I've heard it since maybe Reneka's goal against Juventus in that quarterfinal of the UEFA, which I wasn't at. I'm just watching the TV footage, but it seemed noisy. How did the atmosphere compare to the Juve game? Would you say it was the decibel levels on that goal was as high as you've known, or?
I have no idea because I'm screaming myself when it happens.
True.
And I'm screaming regardless. So I honestly have no idea. I can tell you that after Simeone scored, I found myself horizontal with, I would say, 3 to 5 men on top of me and 2 to 4 men under me. So that's what happened after Simeone scored, and my father was one of them.
Okay.
So
Excellent.
yes, no, it's not dirty. It's not dirty.
That's fine.
But-
No, that's you. That's your mind. That's not mine. That's yours.
Okay, fair enough. Just for the listeners, But yeah, no, it was that kind of goal. When you celebrate so hard that you find you can't stand up anymore, and you just find yourself horizontal, and it's quite dangerous, to be honest. But I love it. It doesn't happen all the time. But when it does happen, I love it. It means that it was one of those goals which you're gonna remember probably for your whole life. It was
when
very
we're
fun.
100 walking across Piazza Plebiscito.
Yeah, I had some friends watching the game in other parts of the curva, and then when Simeone scored, they ran all the way to where we were, and they just literally they jumped on us, and we celebrated like that, which is also quite dangerous because we are in row 2, so.
God.
So we are quite close to, the.
Be careful, Michele. You've got to make it to the end of the season. Yeah,
I'll try. I can guarantee it. Especially if it goes how we hope it's gonna go. But it was quite fun. It was very funny game, and the atmosphere. I would say it wasn't that different compared to the Juve game. The difference compared to other season is that every game feels like a final. Every minute counts. Every ball possession counts. Every tackle, every save. It honestly feels like a final. It feels like a knockout stage. That's why it's getting so big. The atmosphere. That's why it's always sold out. It's just like every win. It's not like any other win. No, every game we win is one step closer. And it honestly feels like a knockout stage of like a Champions League or any tournament, because we don't take these wins for granted. I would say probably in the past, if we won, not against Roma, even against Roma though, maybe, we would be like, okay, job done. Let's see each other next week, let's see what happens. But no, this time, like every win gets celebrated quite hard. Like we have lately they've been shooting fireworks outside the stadium after we win, which is quite fun. Right outside Curva B, which is quite fun. You can see the faces of the people. It's like we win a trophy every time we win a game now in Serie A. It's amazing. It's very stressful. It's very, very stressful. That's why people cry. There are tears of joy, obviously, but there are tears of they come
a release, isn't
it?
Exactly.
Exactly. So that's why we cry. It's because it gets so stressful, and obviously the stadium is a multiplier. Because I'm not saying that if you watch at home, I watch at home. Obviously, I don't go to all away games, so it's tense at home, but it's not as tense in the stadium. It's kind of a multiplier of emotions. If you are sad, it gets sadder. If you are happy, it gets happier. So it's
if you're aroused, you get even more aroused. So I want to talk about your advice to people listening who are far away. Now, it would strike me, listening to what you're saying, that coming to see Napoli play during this run is going to be an experience, really, no matter what game you're watching between now and the end of the season, because there's something about this which does feel quite unique. Would you say that's fair enough?
As I said, regardless of the rival we face that week, it's just the game feels like a final. Like, honestly, it does. It really doesn't matter. It could be Roma, Juventus, or it could be Cremonese, like it's gonna be next week. Well, this Sunday. But we're competing for such a big objective now that it really, like, every point is the same. 3 points against Roma are the same as 3 points against Cremonese. So it really doesn't matter. We have that goal in mind, and obviously every win gets us closer to it. So it really doesn't matter the rival and the kind of game. Obviously the big games are bigger, obviously.
And people are starting to look towards the end of the season now. And obviously everyone listening, it is your own responsibility to sort your own lives out. But I wouldn't mind just having a bit of a chat about this, because I suppose what I was just thinking, listening to you speak there, is for people to to be quite smart, I think. So, maybe there's the sort of last minute flight option sort of thing. Go to see a game in the next month or so, as well as thinking maybe towards the end of the season, because it sounds like it would still be an amazing experience. Tickets have got a lot harder to get hold of, right, Michele? And should we just remind everybody of how it works? Like, it's about 2 weeks before the game that tickets actually formally get released, right?
That's right. Yes. So a lot of people obviously have been preparing for, the end of the season. So a lot of people have been thinking about it. I'm lucky enough to live here, so I don't get to I don't have to have any arrangements, because I'm gonna be here, and I'm lucky enough to have a season ticket, so I don't struggle for tickets. But that's not the case for the most fans, and obviously, as you can imagine, this season is quite special. We haven't had something like that for many, many years. I think people really don't realize how historic this is going to be. This has the potential, but even if it's not going to happen, it's still historic, being
I agree,
in the fight. So I think people know that it's special, but they don't realize how special, because I'm getting a lot of requests for, tickets for the last games. And they're like, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, but I really care about this. So please, can you do something for me? So here's the deal. A lot of people care about this. A lot. And when I say a lot, I don't mean thousands, I mean millions. Just in Italy, just in Campania, there are like 2-3 million, I would say a couple of million of Napoli fans. And keep in mind that there are gonna be only about 30,000 tickets on sale, because obviously you have to take away the season tickets quota. So you have about, the capacity is 54,000. Take away about 3,000-4,000 for the away section, for the tribune, which don't go on sale, and you have about 48,000 tickets for the general public. You take away about 15,000 for the season tickets, and then you have the 33,000 tickets on sale, on general sale for every game. This is 30,000 tickets going on sale for a demand of about, in my opinion, it's going to be millions, because it's not just going to be Napoli fans. It's also going to be neutrals who want to attend this historic event. So when you plan on coming to Napoli for example, Napoli-Sampdoria, which is the last home game,
which I'm going to go to Napoli for that. So I've booked my flights. Yes. I've got my accommodation done. So I'm going to be there that weekend.
And when I say this, I'm speaking to Henry specifically. I'm not speaking to any other person. So I'm looking at Henry in the eyes right now. I'm telling you, Henry, if you plan on coming to Napoli-Sampdoria, the last game of the season, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be extremely hard. It's going to be the hardest, I think, ever for Napoli tickets, because you have to remember, last time Napoli won the Scudetto, you had non-nominal tickets, which means that you could buy tickets on the secondary market. Now, you can't. So once tickets are sold out, they are sold out. That's it. Yeah. Please remember that you can't buy Napoli tickets on the secondary market, because Napoli tickets are non-transferable, which means that you print your own name on the ticket, and then that makes that ticket yours. You are the only one who is legally allowed to use that ticket, and once the name is printed on the ticket, you can't do anything else. You can't give that ticket to someone else. You can't resell it, and obviously that means that you can't buy a ticket on the secondary market, because it's gonna have someone else's name on it. So it's gonna be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to get these tickets. It's gonna be like winning the lottery.
And you're saying that to me, your close confidant podcaster, a man who literally opened up his house to you, to stay in, he showed you Enzo's fish and chip shop in Paisley, that, took you to all the great sites of Paisley. So even to me, you're saying that, Michele.
Yes, that brings me to my second point. No one can guarantee Napoli tickets, because Napoli tickets need to be customized, as I said, with your own name on them, which means that Napoli tickets are managed centrally. People believe that ticket stores have like an allocation of tickets, and they can sell their own allocation, which means that like if you pay enough, you can guarantee your ticket. That's not the case because everyone has access to the same number of tickets. They are centralized. So in theory, one ticket store can issue all tickets for the stadium or none. You know, it depends. Obviously, it's mostly about luck. So it's
so okay.
like
And let's
no
not get
matter
too
how much, no matter how much you beg me, I can guarantee tickets because I can't. I just can't. That's not how it works with Napoli tickets. I'm gonna try, but
I also think it's
Henry.
worth saying that being in the city itself will be an amazing experience, won't it?
I agree. I
mean, you mentioned the
hope so.
fireworks. There'll be all sorts of things happening, and like, so I think that if you're planning on going in that build-up, and obviously it might even happen before then, is don't bank on being in the stadium, but go there to experience the whole event from the city's perspective. And there's going to be all sorts of amazing stuff going on. As per usual, you just DM you if you want to get in touch about tickets and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, maybe not Twitter because Twitter has been giving me some problems lately. But no, absolutely.
And so, and also for everyone listening, that Michele is super busy this season because there's a lot going on. So, but you do get back to everybody. And I was talking about the other day to some people here in Scotland who had a wonderful time with you. So I do think, I mean, if you don't get in the stadium, it'll still be amazing. So I'm in my head, like if I can get to the game, that would be an amazing bonus. And I still want to keep the pressure on you, Michele. But if I don't, then there's
We'll try. I'm
there's
gonna try, but lower your expectations. Not just you, Henry, but everyone. Don't expect, no amount of begging or even like throwing money at the problem will solve it because it's mostly random. And it's kind of fair, right? It shouldn't be just people paying a lot of money to watch this game.
I couldn't agree more, actually. And I think on that, whilst we're talking about this, before we got a few more minutes left, but do you want to give us an update on Champions League? And let's start with the tickets, but then I want to hear more your thoughts about the Champions League in general. So if people want to go to the away game or the home game, what do they have to do?
Yeah, so again, as I said, it's not going to be easy to get any ticket for Napoli games from now on. And that also applies to away games. Champions League away games are a little bit more difficult than Serie A games because Serie A games are kind of restricted, which, it's kind of a paradox, right? Because they're restricted, but they're easier to get. Yeah, that applies. But Champions League games are, bigger events. So obviously there is more demand. Case in point, the sale for the away tickets in Frankfurt started today. It was just priority sale for season ticket holders. And they finish in 2 hours, which is, it's not a lot at all because Napoli tickets for the other away games in the group stage they actually managed to go to general sale, and this time they finished in 2 hours in the priority phase, which makes me sad because a lot of people wanted to attend this game, and guys, it's just
So it's quite a low chance that there'll be anything left, presumably.
I think
that.
0. It wouldn't make any sense to keep some tickets for the general sale because it would be a little bit disrespectful towards season ticket holders, I would say, because when we got our season tickets, it clearly said you're gonna have priority on away tickets for Champions League, and obviously a lot of season ticket holders didn't get the chance to get their tickets today because again they sold out in 2 hours. That was not me. I was lucky enough to get in. But
so you're going to Germany?
Yeah, I am. I didn't tell you. Yeah, of course I'm going. Yeah.
Are you going with your dad?
I'm going with my dad.
Oh, mate, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, hopefully.
Frankfurt. I know Frankfurt Airport quite well. It's very big. And
I'm not going to Frankfurt Airport though. It's gonna be it's never like that because when the draw happens, everyone books their flights. So you have like a 2 minutes window to book affordable flights for your for the away game, and that never happens. So we got a flight from Rome to Luxembourg, and then we're gonna hire a car from Luxembourg, and we're gonna drive all the way to
road trip.
Frankfurt.
Napoli road trip. Oh
Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
that'd be cool. Okay, I can't wait to hear all about this. And for the home games again, it's gonna be very high demand, presumably, for the home leg.
yeah. So
Cool.
again, I'm gonna try my best. A lot of people have been already in touch with me for all games until the end of the season, and that's what I tell them. Like I'm gonna try my best, but no guarantees. Especially no guarantees of stadium sections, because these tickets,
Just
like all games are sold out now. All games are sold out, and
just get what you can, basically. I think, okay, cool. So, and how do we feel about it? A lot of my mates who know that I support Napoli, who follow other leagues, like in England or Scotland or Spain or wherever, have been saying, I think Napoli are a decent shout for the Champions League. I just can't see it, Michele. I just can't see it. What are your thoughts on this? Like, I think it's been really nice that we've showed the world how good we are as a team. In my mind, like anything is a bonus in this competition, but maybe I'm less of a red-blooded tifoso. How about yourself?
so yeah, a couple of things, because I was talking with my father and with some friends about it, and it's funny how little we are thinking about Champions League right now. That was funny to me, because it came to me. I realized all of a sudden, oh wait, we are actually still competing in Champions League. And in and of itself, this would be like, even if like we were doing bad in the league, the round of 16 Champions League is still something which hasn't happened a lot in the club's history. So this will still be counted as probably a quite successful season for how we did in Champions League so far. But obviously, what we are doing in the league is overshadowing everything else. So we are still in Champions League, but no one is thinking about it. And I wasn't thinking about it. And I am the one who booked the flights for Frankfurt. And I wasn't thinking about it. I was like, oh, wait, I have to go to Frankfurt in 3 weeks? Wow, I totally forgot. Any other season, I would be, I still am very happy, but I would be extremely focused about it, let's say. I would only think about that. But no, this season is special. And I'm going to say something controversial now, because that's something I said in a chat on WhatsApp. And
okay,
I also
prepare yourself for a hot take that is coming from Michele. Everybody.
Again, this is something I realized about myself. I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's something I realized. And that's what it is. I realized that a part of me, a small part of me, but a part of me nonetheless, doesn't really want to win the Champions League this season.
Whoa. Okay. Explain. Show your workings. Justify
your
statement.
So yeah, again, this is not rational, I would say. This is not rational. This is something I realized, because with the prospect of winning Champions League, I realized I didn't really celebrate, let's say, like the thought of winning the Champions League. I'm not, maybe it's so unreal that I don't even think about it, but it's just that probably I'm so focused about Serie A and the S word and everything that goes with it, and the end of the season, Napoli Sampdoria, that winning that and Champions League would kind of diminish the achievement in a way, both achievements actually. Because maybe I don't know why. I still don't know why. I have to go.
But also, like, how much would you enjoy that last day of the season if the thing happens, knowing that like a week later there was that final on the horizon?
No, I have no idea. How do I even start to think about that? I have no idea. I would feel like, I've accomplished everything I had to accomplish in life, which is funny to me, because that's another conversation I had with some friends in the past. It's problematic when you start thinking that Napoli victories are my personal victories. But that's how I think about them. That's, I think, how a lot of Napoli fans process and think about Napoli victories. I was like, why? I've done nothing. I only paid for a ticket, and I feel like I'm winning. I feel like I've actually accomplished something with my life with this Napoli victory. So this is the weird thing. To me.
It's the weird thing about culture. Weird thing about football, isn't it? How invested. So, I mean, we'll talk about this once we get out of the season. But the other thing I think, and I know I'm getting massively ahead of ourselves, but you look at the state of Milan, Inter, Juve, all the northern clubs, and you look at the state of Napoli, that there is the potential for an extended period of time where, I'm not saying the S word's going to happen again, and this could be, whenever. But there's the potential for being able to concentrate on the Champions League in the next sort of 2 to 3 years, and maybe we might enjoy it with a bit more focus. Who knows? Really cool. Okay,
no comment.
We've gone for quite a long time, so let's do the Neapolitan expression of the week, and then let's all go our separate ways ahead of the Cremonese game.
Okay, so in light of what we are achieving right now, and in light of Napoli's recent performances, I would say that, the general atmosphere in Napoli is ecstatic. Everyone is happy, but we are not relaxed. I don't think there is any celebration. Obviously, we celebrate individual victories, but I haven't met anyone in Napoli who's convinced we're going to win the Scudetto like 100%. I don't think we can afford that kind of thought. I understand people saying, it's delusional to think that Napoli is not going to win it. I understand it, because obviously if any other team would have been plus 13 at this point in the season, we will all say the same thing, right? Okay, this season is over. Let's think about the next one. But Napoli is the kind of team which cannot afford this kind of logic, because we haven't won anything in our history. So we really can't take it for granted. We never can take it for granted. I don't want to jinx it. But I think people who are already celebrating are jinxing it. So I don't want to say, look at Milan. Milan seems unbeatable just a few months ago, and then look at them. I'm not gonna say
so bad at the moment.
Right?
It's incredible.
I'm not gonna say that's what's gonna happen to us, but I'm gonna say that probably Milan Napoli is the only game where we were outclassed. I don't think we deserved to win that game, but we did, and that was nice.
That's
but we
such
didn't.
A good point. That was not a good performance. Yeah, absolutely.
No, not at all. I think they dominated the game.
And Inter as well, but Inter we just looked half asleep after the break, to be honest.
Yeah, and we deservedly lost though. But against Milan, I think they played much better than us, and they ended up losing, but they looked better than us, like more of a team.
True.
And then look at them now. So anything is possible. What I'm gonna say is, I'm looking out for signs of Napoli kind of losing focus, let's say, because I see players very focused. I see a lot of concentration. I see a lot of will to win this league, and I haven't seen any sign from the team, from the club, from the manager, from the players of actually losing the grip, let's say, on what we are fighting for. So that's good, but never say never. But we haven't won anything in our history, so let's
What's
be careful.
The fucking expression, Michele? Come on. Cut to the chase.
Therefore,
you've set this up. Go for it.
No, but that's important, though. That's important because
pardon my French.
A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, let's celebrate." No, there's not time to celebrate. Which brings me to the phrase of the week, which is "Frigge fish e guarda a yacht." Friggi il pesce e guarda la gatta. In English, it would be fry the fish and look out for the cat, the female cat, actually. Okay. Which means, like metaphorically speaking, it would mean enjoy the present, enjoy what you have, but still be careful. Keep an eye on the threat. Keep an eye on what can take that, the reason why you're enjoying the present away from you. So in this phrase, I would say the gatta, the cat, is Inter, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's good that we don't even know.
They could go on a run.
Right? It's kind of, it's good that we can even identify who the threat is. But still, I would say probably, everyone says that, but it's true. The biggest threat to Napoli is Napoli itself.
Yep.
So, we're plus 13. So if we don't, what I'm going to say is this is going to be historic either way. Because we're either going to win the league by a lot of points, and that's historic, and it's already historic because we're breaking all records, or we're going to lose the league. We're going to lose the Scudetto after having led with a plus 13, which is unheard of.
Filippo, forget any Neapolitan drama. This would be the biggest Neapolitan drama. you could possibly imagine. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. I thoroughly endorse this message, Michele. Great to talk to you as always. We can find you on Twitter at Napoli Tickets. Also, you're on the other platforms and things like that. I'm at Henry Bell Culture. You can find some of my writing in the Gentleman Ultra, and also the Guardian had something last week about Napoli Roma. This is part of the Far From Vesuvius podcast network, and just a shout out to my fratelli in Napoli, Glasgow. So if you are Scotland based and you fancy meeting up every now and then to watch a match, do drop me a DM and you can come and join the group of original gangsters. Great, cool. Well, Michele, ciao, and Forza Napoli.
Sempre!